Hi, it's iRacing commentator David Haynes. In 2019, I'm excited to be bringing coverage of the ChampCar Sim Series, the sim racing division of the ChampCar Endurance Series. Contested across 15 championship rounds using the 2015 Mazda MX-5, the winners will receive a free entry into a real ChampCar Endurance Series race in the 2020 season. Each points round will be broadcast live by HJBC. Head to forum.champcar.org for full information and schedule. Sign-ups are open, so get registered now. Best of luck, and I'll see you at the track.
Shut up and sit down.
Round 7 of the ChampCar Sim Series means we're getting very close to the halfway point. This is where it all starts to matter. You're watching HJBC coverage here at Watkins, Glen. Qualifying underway right now. Got a nice grid of 21 cars right now. People love Watkins, Glen, and you can see why. It's a great classic track. It always produces some great road racing, especially on the classic boot layout. I'm David Haynes. Alongside me is going to be Aaron Thacker, our producer Michael Derby, for your coverage tonight. And Aaron, round 7 of ChampCar, and right now it's John D. Allen at the top of the timing for qualifying.
It definitely is, and that is a very interesting situation. Is John D. Allen is currently P2 in points behind Alex Albert, who is currently number 3 in qualifying, and Thomas Ellison right behind Alex Albert in P3 in points and currently P4 in qualifying. David, so we're definitely seeing some good performance out of our points leaders here, and a very healthy field tonight. So this is going to be some fantastic racing.
Yep, certainly. So your top 5 as they are right now. Well, John D. Allen has a rather significant gap over Ross Banfield in 2nd. And as you pointed out, Alex Albert in 3rd, Thomas Ellison in 4th, Will Robbins with a good effort for 5th position as it is right now. These qualifying sessions here in the ChampCar Sim Series are 60 minutes open, all cars on track, just 5 minutes of that remaining. Track temperature, that's looking very, very hot, Aaron. It's going to be quite slippery out there.
Yes, it is. Let me check on that for you right now. Yeah, David, it is, oh my goodness, it is 111 degrees Fahrenheit. So, if your tires are going to have a difficult time, and if you're not out there racing, go ahead and crack an egg and cook it right on the pavement, because my goodness, is that warm. However, it is a beautiful ambient 80 degrees. So those in the stadium seating tonight is going to enjoy some very nice weather. My goodness, that track is hot.
Yeah, if you can get into the shade, it'll be a great place to watch some racing. It'll be a nice day. Just make sure you're not walking around in bare feet. You will burn your souls out on that tarmac. So we got a 1-hour race ahead of us, and a fuel limitation from the fixed setup means that everyone's going to have to take a pit stop for fuel. And with a track temperature like that, I imagine we'll be seeing just about everyone taking tires at their pit stop as well with their fuel. Keep an eye out for that one in the race, because track temperature like that means the cars will be sliding around a little bit, means they'll be wearing down the best grip off the tires, means there certainly will be an advantage and a little bit of an undercut from being able to strap on a new set of tires when you choose to pit.
Yeah, David, I think you are definitely right. And just watching in this session, I've been watching here for about 30 minutes, and pretty much everyone in some capacity has practiced that full-on pit stop. So I really think they're deciding how long those tires are going to take. They're deciding how much fuel they're going to take. And so, some very interesting strategies here in qualifying, but some very necessary things to check things out. And David, I'm watching Alex Albert, and he just went green in 2 sectors on that last lap, David, but he has not yet improved his time. So our points leader, Alex Albert, remains in P3 in this qualifying session with just under 3 minutes left.
Yep, indeed. Slipstream can be pretty powerful. You can form quite a bit of a draft from turn 1 all the way up the hill through the Esses, which are absolutely flat out in this car, until you reach the braking zone for that inner loop, for that bus stop chicane. And in these cars like this, you can get in there pretty late on the brakes. So expect a lot of passing there in the race. If you can just get a good run out of turn 1, you've got a lot of full throttle in front of you to draft up behind the car in front. And that's not to say you can't make passes and overtakes through the boot section of the track, because some quite technical corners there, some difficult camber. If your driver in front makes a mistake, there's an opportunity to capitalize there as well. I'm not going to say the passing is only going to be into the inner loop. I'm sure we'll see some all around the circuit.
Yeah, we'll definitely see passing all around the circuit. And the beautiful part about this track is you kind of mentioned a few of, there's so many opportunities to make a pass on this track. Obviously, going up the hill before the bus stop is a key opportunity, but going too wide here is a very dangerous proposition. David, I do want to, again, let's take a spotlight of some cars on track right now. I'm watching a bright pink number 46, a new entrant to this, Jeff Tyler. David, he went green in every single sector on the last lap, except the first sector where I believe he had a 1X, David. So Jeff Tyler and number 12, Ryan Verhulst, still struggling to put down a qualifying lap. But my goodness, is number 46 very, very quick in the closing moments of this qualifying session.
Yeah, that first turn, all the pavement out there on the exit that you can use on your lap, but if you push it just a little bit too far, well, there's an off-track waiting for you. Maybe that's what he's done. We'll see, but Jeff Tyler definitely pushing it out there. He'll have this lap to try and set a time on the board, and if he can get to the start-finish line before the 30 seconds left expires, everyone who starts a flying lap before the time ends will get to finish it. There is a little bit of overtime to allow everyone to complete a lap that they started before the time elapsed.
Yeah, I'll do also a quick run. It looks like Thomas Ellison currently sitting in P4 in qualifying. Yeah, Thomas Ellison is parked. Ross Benefield as well in P2 is parked, David. So it looks like those two drivers are very content with their qualifying position, while Alex Albert remains on track. So he is still looking to improve that final time, possibly besting John D. Allen. So he's still working on that. And yeah, Jeff Tyler has just put in a lap and snuck in P14 for number 46. So he is on the board. And Ryan Verhulst remains our only car with no qualifying time.
Yeah, checkered flag came out just before Jeff Tyler got to the line, so that's his one and only lap that he got to put in the running for qualifying. So now we just see everyone out on circuit completing their lap, and very, very shortly we will know what our qualifying order is going to be for round 7 of ChampCar Sim Series. It's getting pretty serious at this point in the championship.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I'm going to do a quick rundown. We mentioned it at the top of the show here, but let's talk about points. Alex Albert is leading the championship with 266 points. Right on his heels is John D. Allen with 254, and close behind both of those guys right there, Thomas Ellison in third place with 243 points. Ross Benefield P4, David Evans P5, Justin Hall P6, Chris Knisley P7, Alex Crawford P8, Benjamin Shout P9, and rounding out your top 10 in points is Brian Cheney with 117 points. So, David, there is a bit of a gap between P3 in points and P4 in points. Thomas Ellison with 243 and Ross Benefield with 190. But that does not mean any of these guys are out of the race. And, David, anything can happen in some of these sessions. So, at any point, the group inside that top 10, plenty of opportunity to grab some very good positions here. And, David, yeah, just about a minute and a half left in the field. How we looking on some of these laps? It looks like a lot of people were pretty satisfied with their time. It looks like we may have a field locked in.
Yeah, Chris Knisley's going to come across the line, see if he improves his time. Jeff Tyler is still out there, not going to set a valid lap, but just setting some practice, using this time just to feel out the weather conditions, feel out the car, and the track temps have gone up even further.
Yeah, it's getting extremely toasty out there. Yeah, we've increased 1 more degree. So as we see these guys continue to put down some laps in this 1 hour race, put some rubber down with, again, we got 21 cars out there. That is going to bring this track temperature up a little bit as well, David. So I would anticipate a few more degrees rising before we finally see the checkered flag tonight.
Indeed. So I think we can go ahead and call what our qualifying order is going to be, because I don't see anyone out there who can improve their lap time. So on pole, and by a margin of more than 1 second, John D. Allen dominating the field over Ross Banfield. Alex Albert and Tom Ellison will share the second row. Will Robbins and Justin Hall are 5th and 6th. Chris Knisley is 7th and David Evans is 8th. Shane Norton has 9th, and rounding out our top 10 in the car 197 is Kerry Coughlin.
And back half of the group here, Alex Crawford, P11, Jacob Bean, P12, Andrew Fawcett, P13, Jeff Tyler, P14, Roy Deach, P15, Tyler James, P16, Lee Molman, P17, Chris Herbert, P18, Ryan Verhulst, P19, Alex Semeridich, P20. Alex, I apologize, I probably did not do your last name any justice, and Leif Madsen in P21, David, with no time, and we'll keep an eye on it if he is able to grid.
So, time now for all the drivers to put the cars out on circuit, line up behind our iRacing safety car, lovely Porsche GT3, and it's going to be quite an extensive pace lap, a full tour of this beautiful 5.42 kilometer Watkins Glen classic boot before the green flag will wave. John D. Allen will control the field and send them away. So plenty of time for the drivers to sit in the car before the race start and think about what they're going to do for strategy. When will they pit? Will it be early? Will it be late? What will they do if they encounter some traffic? And what is going to be their strategy into turn 1 on lap 1? Of course, the fixed setup in this series dictates how much fuel they can have on the grid. It's not a fuel tank restriction. It's entirely possible to pit on lap 1 or 2, be able to fit in the required fuel, and then go to the end from there. There's more capacity in the fuel tank than they start with fuel on the grid. So that really broadens up the pit window, and we've had all of our cars grid, and the pace car will pull away now, and we'll do that full lap. So lots of strategy options, and of course they can nearly go 50 minutes on the starting fuel. So really your pit lane window is from the end of lap 1 till about 10 minutes to go in the race. So John D. Allen leads the field behind the safety car, all of them getting away from the grid now. Jeff Tyler took a second to put it in gear. I think everyone rolling now. They might want to think about how much fuel they're burning on this warm-up lap, because it's a full tour up and down Dale of the circuit.
Yes, it is. And David, I apologize. I had a microphone issue there. Yeah, I was just talking about, some of the features of this beautiful course. Again, we watched the guys enter turn 1 there. There really isn't a bad way to take that corner. You can bounce off that corner and take it too wide. There's plenty of runoff for you. But right now, going through the back straight, just after turn 4, this is a massive hill. There is no fuel savings opportunity here. And then they're going to approach the inner loop here is what this is called. David, this is a section where you want to take as much curb as you possibly can. These beautiful Mazda Miatas have plenty of travel on that suspension. These guys can really eat up some of these curves. And then this is just such a fun curve here. Not a lot of lift. I mean, you really can, once you get the car settled, really go flat out. And then these guys are going to head down the section here on this outer loop and into the chute. And David, I think this is going to be a primo passing opportunity for a lot of drivers tonight.
Chris Knisley out of 7th place. I don't see him on. I think he might not. I think Chris Knisley might not take this start. That's, I think, unfortunate for him, but most of the cars almost all of the cars that set a qualifying time are taking up the start. Nice grid laid out for us, and I'm sure that's going to lend itself not only to some action right up the front of the field, but all the way down, all the way through the race.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate to see what's happened to Chris Eisner. He's P7 in points. That is extremely crucial for him to make sure he can get that car on track, David. And I really hope that he's able to. I want to go back to talk about some of the passing points. This is going to be another very good passing opportunity, but there's really no big speed advantage here. You take the inside line here, you're going to get the best grip, but sometimes on this outside line, you're going to be able to get the best drive. And if you can't get the job done, this coming up section right here, David, this heel section, this is going to be extremely difficult to stabilize the car and get it sorted out. So that's probably your last and final passing opportunity before you can come up to this final section here, turn 10 and then turn 11, and then pretty much the job is done. So, David, plenty of opportunity for these guys here tonight. We're going to see some great side-by-side racing. We hope everybody stays clean on this very hot and very slippery Watkins Glen track.
Yeah, so John D. Allen leading the field, backing up a little bit behind the pace car, 2 lovely rows, and that Porsche pulls in. John D. Allen waits, green flag waves, and he did not get a good jump. He did not jump before the green flag, so the pack bottles up, fans out behind. They're 4 wide in the pack. Get safely through turn 1, everyone. John D. Allen now with a little bit of a lead, but definitely 3 or 4 wide in the back. Someone is around. Will Robbins has been hit in the rear. He's gone for a little bit of a spin, managed to correct it. No one in the wall, no one going for a full spin, but definitely a little bit of contact on the start. So John D. Allen leading them up the hill. Ross Banfield and Alex Albert still in 2nd and 3rd. And now the slipstream kicks in. Ross Banfield is clawing that gap back. Will he take a shot at the lead before the inner loop? Pretty well single file our first 5-6 cars. Banfield closing, does not take a move into the inner loop. So your top 3 stay in line. Some passing opportunities, some shuffling around in the background there.
Yeah, David, we've got our first incident. Unfortunately, Andrew Fawcett was going side by side. It looks like car number 47 got very, very loose. And yeah, that was Tyler James gets very loose, smacks into Andrew Fawcett. So our first incident into the boot tonight. We're going to have to watch to make sure if either of those cars are okay, David. But it looks like some very significant damage to Andrew Fawcett. He is crabbing around, David. That is going to be a fast repair.
It's an unfortunate start for him. The pace in qualifying that John D. Allen showed, well, it's enough that it would break him away from this pack, but it hasn't happened just yet. Banfield half a second back, still enjoying a lot of the slipstream. Justin Hall in 5th is up 1 spot by virtue of I think some drivers not taking the start. David Evans, Jeff Tyler in 7th is up 7 spots. He's made hay on the first lap. He's trying to charge up through the field after he only got 1 opportunity at qualifying. He's felt out the conditions a bit more, and he's trying to move his way up the field. Another big winner in 13th place is Ryan Verholst. And unfortunately, our big losers on the first lap so far, Will Robbins, like I mentioned, getting tagged in turn 1. He's down 11 spots into 16th. And Chris Knisley didn't take the grid, but is now out on circuit, so he's lost 11 spots down in 18th, and Andrew Fawcett with some damage. But John D. Allen leads the first lap and quite well clear. Jeff Tyler in 6th place now, going for a move on David Evans.
Yeah, David Evans gets chewed up by Jeff Tyler, who has been a massive grade. Whoa, my goodness, and David, we got a spinner in turn 1 right there.
I think it's David Evans that's gone very, very deep wide. He's tumbling down the timing screen, lost himself 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, nearly 10 spots now. That's very, very costly. Whatever has transpired there. John D. Allen now still leading, but there's a real train right behind Ross Banfield. Alex Albert tucked up there. Tom Ellison tucked up there. Justin Hall a little bit further back. 2nd, 3rd, 4th are a train. You could couple them together. There is not room to fit another car between them. And Banfield closes up on the leader a little bit through the inner loop. So this top 4, top 5 not separating at this stage, and that's hopefully going to provide some great racing as we continue.
Yeah, David, I want to quickly call back, and we can stay on the cameras where we are now. But yeah, so the issue with David Evans was Kerry Coughlin in the car 197 came in very hot into turn one, and David just gave him the slightest kiss. David Evans, the slightest kiss on the bumper, and with the car a bit unsettled with some of those bumps, he went right around. So unfortunate for David Evans. I don't believe Kerry Coughlin is really at fault there, but man, he's got some work to do. That car number 2, David Evans, he's got to get back up there. Let's focus back up on this top group, David. These guys are hunting each other very early on in this race.
Yeah, great battle between the 23 of Crawford and that 197. Alexander Crawford has just gotten through in the 23 car and then successfully defended into the heel. So another position gain for Alex Crawford. He's a little bit back off your top 6, off your top 5. But now he's also moving up the field. A lot of reordering in our first couple of laps. Qualifying might not have been entirely representative of the race pace and racecraft of our field.
Yeah, and you definitely called that out at the very beginning, how important some of that draft is. And we're already seeing some very fine and very aggressive moves in some of those passing opportunity sections that I talked about. But, wow, David, we're starting to see some purple sectors here as these guys get their tires warmed up and fuel starts to drop. And we have just seen John D. Allen set the fast lap of the race with a 2:14.253. David, that has been bested by Jeff Tyler with a 2:14.1. So we are really seeing some times drop off here.
Yeah, indeed. First flying lap of the race in the bag for all of our drivers. Up the hill now goes John D. Allen. Benefield closing once again. I think Alex Albert in third might be giving him a little bit of a bump down the straights. Those two may be working together, whether Benefield likes it or not, to catch John D. Allen, prevent him from getting too far ahead.
Yeah, he's definitely watching it, and we have some in the catbird seat. Tom Ellison, we see Tom Ellison get a little bit wide coming out of the inner loop there. And David, I hear some squealing tires. Oh no, Jeff Tyler has spun. Jeff Tyler has spun. He took a little too much curb in the bus stop there, David. Got himself unsettled. Did not make contact with the wall, but RP6 driver, who was up 9 spots, is now dropping like a rock in our field.
Wow, so that pace may be the result of being just a little bit too aggressive over some of the curbing, and this time it has caught him out in the pink 46. Indeed, cost him a lot of positions. And I think Justin Hall also had an issue at about the same time. Obviously, there was no contact between those two drivers, but the inner loop in these very, very slippery track conditions proving tricky. Even in these relatively low-powered cars, there just is not a lot of grip out there.
Yeah, David, great eyes on Justin Hall there. He actually lost it in the outer loop. David, he had a fantastic Formula drift going on and just got himself in trouble with a bit of a tank slapper, ended up losing control. No contact, no issues. He is regained, he is going straight again and has dropped himself down to P8. So no big loss for Justin Hall, but let's get those spins out of the way early, boys, and be safe out there.
Exactly. That's put Justin Hall right as the meat in this sandwich between Shane Norton and Ryan Verhulst. And I'm watching Justin Hall right now, and he's trying everything he can to get that 7th place back off Shane Norton. Justin Hall in the slipstream down the pit straight into turn 1's definitely an overtaking opportunity if you're closing, if you get a good run. Hall is thinking about it. He's going for it. Has the overlap a little bit deeper on the brakes. Will Norton cross it back, or has Hall got that job done? I think Hall has got that job done. Now Ryan Verhulst is going to be the next to line it up. But Benefield and Albert switching positions for second.
Yeah, let's move up here and watch. So Alex Albert looks like he got a very, very good run coming up the hill of that 2-3-4 combo. David, we talked about going too wide here, how dangerous it is. And yeah, Ross Benefield is very aware of how dangerous that is. Backs it off into the corner. Alex Albert is showing us a bit of a drift. Not ideally how you want to take that section, but holds on to it. Ross Benefield is dropped down into P3, so he is down 1 spot from where he started. Alex Albert, my goodness, he's looking quick, but Davis, he's a bit all over the place right now.
Well, yeah, on the ragged edge, trying to move up that spot, no longer content to ride behind Ross Benefield, and you can understand why. It's now 1.3 seconds from your leader, John D. Allen, to Alex Albert. Albert is going to need to pull everything out of the bag right now to bring that gap back down. So The lead of the race is now in the balance on what can Alex Albert do for race pace compared to what Benefield had, compared to what John D. Allen has. And of course, that's let Tom Ellison, he's going for a move on Benefield now. He's not happy to wait either, and he looks like he might be through side by side for third place. And Ellison will just get ahead, squeeze out Ross Benefield. So Benefield dropping down the order from second to fourth in a matter of just a few corners. Is his driving style just too aggressive on the tyres? Did he get a little bit of draft assistance on his qualifying lap that put him higher up the order than maybe he deserved to be? Who knows? But certainly those other drivers no longer content to ride behind in the train.
Yeah, very early on, Ross Benefield is having a tough go of it. He actually lost his position in turn 7, the toe. He just got very, very wide. Thomas Ellison got a way better drive coming up the hill on the boot. Tom Ellison just had the better run. And yeah, Ross Benefield just had no choice but to let Tom Ellison go by coming into turn 8. So very patient, very clinical pass by Tom Ellison. So David, yeah, John D. Allen remains the lead of this race. Alex Albert is up 1 spot, Thomas Ellison up 1 spot, and Ross Benefield in our top group, I don't want to say big loser. He's only down 2 spots, but this is not where you want to be shuffling down pretty early on in this race, because this top group is very, very quick.
Alex Albert now 8 tenths back from John D. Allen. Had a couple good runs, and he's just gaining tenths in the slipstream through the Esses towards the inner loop. He's not out of touch with the lead yet. This is going to need to be a very good lap for him to keep that gap as it is and then gain some more in the slipstream next time. John D. Allen going all the way out past the curbs to try and carry speed through the carousel, through the outer loop, and then down to the laces of the boot. He's riding up all over the curb there. Does he have a slowdown? Is there a problem there? Because here comes Alex Albert side by side to the inside of the toe of the boot and into the lead of the race for the 337. What's the problem for the 48 there? Was it a slowdown through the inner loop? Is he just playing with his meal? Because now he comes back with a great drive. He's giving a bump draft to Alex Albert. The two cars working in unison here. I'm not sure what's going on.
David, I just was listening to the car of John D. Allen coming out of the chute there, and his RPMs were very, very low. I think dare I say, he may have forgotten to shift down, David. There's not a lot of a bottom end torque with these cars, and just his RPMs were extremely low. So no misshifts, no slowdowns. I think he was just in the wrong gear coming out of that section, entering that quick uphill, allowing Alex Albert to very easily sneak by and grab that P1 position.
Yeah, so here we go. The 337 in the lead. Your pole sitter back in second place and looking very racy. All of this lets the number 27, Tom Ellison, close up a little bit. He's right within that slipstream now. Ross Benefield, despite being passed by 2 cars, hasn't faded into the distance. So now it's these 4 cars back together, reunited once again. 5th place now is Alex Crawford. A little bit of traffic rejoins beside our lead pack. Won't affect them, I don't think. Shane Norton, good run from him, still holding on to 6th and trying to hold off Ryan Verhulst in 7th. And your top 10 is rounded out by Will Robbins, Jacob Beenan, and now Tyler James.
Yeah, David, a great call, Tyler James. I actually want to quickly jump back down to this middle pack here. These guys are just as tight and just as intense as our top 4. So, yeah, we've got Ryan Verhulst, Will Robbins, Jacob Beenan, and Tyler James. And Chris Knisley, I think he's also considered in this group, David. So these guys are all very close. As we're watching Jacob Beenan potentially take a look on Will Robbins going into the inner loop here. And, yeah, David, he's done it.
Yeah, throws it down the inside. Definitely saw it coming, did Will Robbins, but a bad run through the corner for Bean and lets a bunch of cars get past now. So Robbins goes back up, and Beenan just through the inside will hold off Knisley and Tyler James. But Knisley is right.
Yeah, these guys, it looks like Chris Knisley is looking to potentially steal that spot back. He's going to get a very good run out of the chute here going down, but he does not have the preferred line here. Thankfully, this turn 7 is going to allow you to kind of take multiple lines. And, David, they got to be very careful. Looks like Jacob Bean is blinking just a little bit, and wow, Tyler James and Chris Knisley almost banged doors there, but they are now chasing Jacob Bean and going up this section. So these guys got to get it sorted out because Will Robbins is running away.
as they battle now, they're being caught by Jeff Tyler. So a great battle right around the middle of your pack. Up front, it's still Alex Albert, John D. Allen, Tom Ellison, and Ross Benefield. So your top 4 together as a pack, and they're now 6 seconds clear of Alex Crawford in 5th. So your top 4 is the breakaway right now. Crawford doing well there, just all alone on the island in 5th, 6 seconds behind the leading pack, but then about 6 or 7 seconds clear of 6th place. So he's got plenty of track position all to himself and probably won't need to worry about when he takes his pit stop, because he's not going to be undercut and he doesn't really have a chance of undercutting anyone else.
Yeah, you are definitely right. So plenty of action. My goodness, with just about 15 minutes in this race, David, I'm going to do a quick call down. So Alex Albert started in P3 all the way up to P1. John D. Allen, P2. Tom Ellison, P3. Ross Benefield, P4. Alex Crawford, P5. Ryan Verhulst, P6. Shane Norton, P7. Will Robbins, P8. Chris Knisely, P9. And Jeff Tyler all the way up to P6, back down to P10. And he's just all over the place. Jeff Tyler rounds out our top groups. We watched John D. Allen have a very, very difficult time in the inner loop. Almost gets past David. And there is a big old bunch up here now because of that small incident going to the bus stop.
Yep, so Albert gets a little bit clear now. John D. Allen backs up Benefield and Ellison. Benefield trying to go back down the inside of Tom Ellison, gets 3rd place back. That bottle up has cost Tom Ellison. He gets shuffled back into 4th position. Benefield gains one of the spots that he lost earlier. And now this is Alex Albert's going to try and use this opportunity to get away, because John D. Allen has lost ground and in the process backed up the 2 cars behind as well.
Yeah, he really has. For probably about 3 laps there, John D. Allen was very patient behind Alex Albert. I mean, I would almost say playing with his food a little bit, just tempting Alex to possibly make a mistake. But unfortunately, it was John D. Allen who ended up making that mistake in that bus stop here. Back up the field, it looks like everybody's sorted themselves out just a little bit. And right now, yeah, it's Thomas Ellison. Again, I don't think he's concerned about losing that spot to Ross Benefield. Ross Benefield got a little out of shape earlier. He's regained that spot. But I think these guys showing a bit of patience now. Thomas Ellison probably feeling that as well. Let's get back up to Alex Albert, make sure we don't lose him, because there's plenty of time left in this race, but it may be time to think about pit strategy. I always love watching Thomas Ellison, as he's always a bit, kind of the beat of his own drum. It usually goes very early on the pit, so I'm watching for Tom Ellison, looking for an opportunity for a very early pit if he feels he can do it.
Yeah, exactly. He'd have to think about where in the pack that would put him down if he took his pit stop now, but it would give him a fresh set of tires, which no doubt would be worth quite a bit. Last lap for our top 4, they all did about 2 minutes 14.2 or so. I reckon they might be half a second per lap almost, or at least a couple tenths in grabbing a new set of tires at this point. So Alex Albert is not going to get away, because John D. Allen in the slipstream now is 4 tenths back. No change of position up the hill this time into the inner loop. John D. Allen throwing it around over the curbs. Means he went into the corner very quick, but lost some speed through the middle. That's where Ross Benefield looks a little bit better. Closes up a little bit through the carousel. And then come down into the boot section of the Watkins Glen circuit.
Yeah, these guys have been very smart here again, making sure they caught back up to Alex Albert, which they have done. David, let's keep the cameras here, but Jeff Tyler has he continues his climb and his reclimb as he has taken a spot away. He's taken away P9 from Chris Knisely. So Jeff Tyler working his way back up to P9, and it looks like, so this group here, everybody kind of went a little wide. Alex Albert goes a little wide. John D. Allen goes a little wide. Ross Benefield goes a little wide. Thomas Ellison kept his tires clean, but looks like John D. Allen is back in position where he may consider to start some of that bumper harassment again, as we're just about 40 minutes 40 minutes left in this race. And David, a quick check on track temperature, and we are up to 116, David. That is 4 degrees higher than where we started in this race, so they may be putting some rubber down, but this track is surely not getting any more grip.
Yeah, it's toasty out there. Keep your dogs in the shade, don't let them walk on pavement. So that's definitely going to wear through the tires, and the way that these cars drive, while they are rear wheel drive, a lot of the effort is in the braking and the turning on the front tires. You really wear out the front tires before you wear out the rear tires. And I think that's some of what we saw through the boot section of the circuit. The outside front tire just working really, really hard and just not getting enough grip, wearing down, and the track temps rising up very hot. So that's what they'll be looking forward to when they take their pit stops, is new tyres all round, but certainly on the front, the grip at the turn-in and the braking that will give these drivers. That's where they'll make their extra speed, especially through the slower corners. The car will just turn more responsively.
Yeah, and great call out. Like at this track, that left front just gets some serious abuse. Heavy load, heavy camber into turn one. And then my goodness, that outer loop, those tires, it probably just doesn't feel like this corner ever ends, which we're watching our top group right now. So these guys are carrying speeds in the high 90s. So just tons of load on that, and you want to make sure that car sticks as much as possible. So the left front tire on this track is doing lots of screaming. I think absolutely these guys will be looking to take tires in their pit stop if they have the time.
Yeah, and it's not considered a low fuel consumption circuit, so the amount of fuel they're going to have to take on board will be more than some of the other circuits we've been to that are a little gentler. So definitely I think they'll have time to change all 4 tires in the amount of time that it will take to fill up to be able to get to the end. Don't think we'll see anyone thinking they can save a couple cheeky seconds on the pit lane by not taking tires here.
No, I definitely think so. David, I want to take a quick look kind of at the mid-pack here. Car number 12 in P7, Ryan Verhulst. He is up 12 spots in this race. We did mention that he was not able to put down a qualifying time. And David, that does not seem to have deterred him at all, because my goodness, has he been quick. He's worked his way up again, 12 spots, starting at P19, and is currently hunting down Shane Norton, who did pass him a couple laps ago, but he is keeping right there, not losing an opportunity to potentially come right back at him and get that spot back.
Yeah, these two have plateaued trade positions a couple times. I think it's around 6th and 7th here. This is about Shane Norton's pace. This is about Ryan Verhulst's pace. So they're pretty well close to each other. Behind that, Will Robbins is he's done a pretty good recovery from the first lap contact. He's in 8th, but Jeff Tyler also on a recovery. Right behind him, gets a good run out of the final corner, has to try and go around the outside towards turn 1. Side by side, Tyler is going to beat him to the line. It's nearly going to get clear before the braking for turn 1. I think Jeff Tyler has that move done, or does he? Will Robbins won't give him the inside line. Will Robbins, though, will probably have to concede that now. Jeff Tyler in front through turn 1. And now I think Chris Knisley in 10th is also going to catch Will Robbins. Quite a few drivers with some car speed who've had some little incidents early goings are trying to recover, and some drivers who've had a clean race and found themselves quite well up the order.
Yeah, I'm glad we could watch that on the stream there. That was a pretty exciting pass by Jeff Tyler. Very unconventional coming into that final sector. Turn 11, you get a good run here. You can get a fantastic run across the start-finish. And then, yeah, taking that very outside line into turn 1. We've talked about there's not really a quick line there. You can take a bunch of curb, you can swing it wide because there's so much runoff. And we really saw Jeff Tyler take advantage of that and grab one more spot away from Will Robbins, who is now being hunted, as you said, by Tyler James. Or excuse me, Chris Knisley.
Yeah, Knisley gets a lot tighter line through the laces of the boot. Lets him close up plenty. He was a second and some behind not long ago, and now it's just a couple of tenths that he is behind Will Robbins. Plenty of different lines through the toe of the boot as well. Some drivers taking an earlier apex, some taking a later apex. I think Knisley goes for the later apex, set up a little bit more power out of the corner. He's sizing up Will Robbins right now. Probably can't do it into the heel, but he might have seen what Jeff Tyler did, and he'll think a good run out of the final corner could set me up for an overtaking maneuver.
Yeah, Chris Nicely is definitely in the opportunistic spot here. He went green in sectors 1 and 2 against Will Robbins, and Will Robbins showing a bit of mustering up a bit of fight here. He's pulled himself almost back up to Jeff Tyler, maybe letting Jeff Tyler know that he is not done with letting go of that position. So, good job for Will Robbins, but Chris Nicely is also wanting that spot just as much. And wow, Will Robbins gets a little squirrely coming to that final sector. David, we may see Chris Nicely make that move into turn 1 here.
I think at this point, Knisley's best bet is to just hang back and try and set up a run out of turn 1. I notice it's very, very close for the lead of the race, though. Alex Albert has John D. Allen right behind him, and here comes Ross Banfield up into second place. They're nearly going to go too wide through the inner loop. They are, so Albert holds on to the lead. Banfield jumps his way back up into second, and our pack for the top 4 is closer than it's ever been. I saw that happening on my timing screen, and I thought, there's less than a tenth between first and second. This needs some attention.
David, if we can ask our producer to get a quick replay of that pass by Ross Banfield, my goodness, was that fun and opportunistic? David, unfortunately, we're not going to get a replay, but so John D. Allen was right on the bumper of Alex Albert. He gave an early lift going into the inner loop. Ross Banfield saw that happen and just dove on the inside. And wow, David, that was a very aggressive pass for P2, but he won it. Wow, that was a fun move to watch by Ross Banfield, grabbing a P2,
Albert
which is...
goes super wide through the toe of the boot there, and Banfield had his nose up the inside, couldn't capitalize, but nearly made the move for the lead there. Front tires really struggling for everyone out there, I think.
Yeah, and Ross Banfield has clearly regained his confidence, which he lost for about the first 10 minutes of the race. But with that first pass that he made in the inner loop, that confidence is back. Alex Albert again going really wide, David. I think he's going to look for it. Yeah, I think Ross Banfield is going to gain the lead of the race for a second change.
Yeah, and John D. Allen's going to come through as well. So that mistake, just not the grip turning in onto the remainder of the circuit, and Banfield through into the lead, Allen up into second, Albert's back in third. Will he consider a pit stop pretty well soon? Well, now John D. Allen's got a great run at Ross Banfield for the lead of the race, doesn't pull out into turn 1, in fact just does a little bit of the bump draft there toward turn 1, but plenty of changes of position in your top pack now. They're getting feisty. Allen goes very wide through turn 1, Banfield pointy to the apex. Now Tom Ellison in 4th is looking for somewhere to go. No moves to be made, but the slipstream, the draft up the hill, up through the Esses, absolutely massive. What will John D. Allen do? Stay in line? Will he pull out? He's still in line for the moment. Banfield tracks out, doesn't defend the inside just yet. John D. Allen sitting in place. Same with Alex Albert, same with Tom Ellison. So after the craziness of last lap, they're all a little more settled this time, but the rear end of John D. Allen's car is not settled as he gets a huge slide through the middle of the corner, just holds on to it, costs him a bit of time, checks up Alex Albert, but now a great run down into the boot for Allen. Nothing to separate our top 4 cars. This racing up the front has just gotten more aggressive, tighter, as the track temperatures have gotten up, as the tires have worn out, excuse me, and as we get closer to the pit stops, I think closer to the halfway point of the race, the aggression has been dialed up.
It has been dialed up, and you mentioned the temperature. We have ticked up 1 more degree. We are now 117 degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, it was fun watching you call that section. Everybody said everybody's settled in, everybody's going stable. We got a big old tank slapper from John D. Allen. And yeah, Alex Albert looks like he settled back in. But David, that lap when he lost 2 positions, that was his worst lap of the race. He did 2:17.4. That is an extremely slow lap and a full 4 seconds off the pole lap. So Alex Albert has regained his composure, but yeah, he really suffered on that very poor lap, and unfortunately he's dropped down 3 positions, but he's holding strong and he's not losing this group in front of him. But man, Ross Banfield, a big winner with that big shuffle there.
Yeah, indeed. So he's going to get a couple more laps led chalked up underneath his name. We'll see what the lap times were like this time around, but they've absolutely dropped away from the pace of their best laps of the race. So Banfield, a 2:16 on that lap. His best is a 2:15. 14.2. Now, the track temps have come up a little bit, but I'm starting to think that an undercut on tyres, while not normally the strongest strategy in this series and in these race cars, with the track temp like it is, I think you could absolutely gain half a second per lap with a new set of boots. If Albert or Ellison decide they want to pit early, that's an opportunity, but too wide for the lead now. Great run up the Esses for John D. Allen. Goes around the outside of Benefield. Benefield still has his nose to the inside. Here comes Albert giving him a little bit of a bump, but I think John D. Allen will sweep around and into the lead of this race if he can hold on to it. Huge amount of tyre squeal, but I think he just manages to grab the lead away from Ross Benefield. Now our top four are back in the order that they qualified for the first time since I think about lap 1.
That was a pretty wild moment right there. We saw 3 cars take 3 completely different lines going into the bus stop. I don't know who did it best, who did it worst. There was probably a lot of sawing going on some of those steering wheels. I want to quickly talk again about some of the undercut opportunities. I think if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Tom Ellison, because if Tom is watching the way these guys are behaving or misbehaving, depending on how you see on it, these guys are fighting tooth and nail, not exactly doing some of the quickest laps. If Tom Ellison wants to consider popping in right now, get his service done, and let these guys continue to battle on track, potentially doing some slower laps. And if Tom Ellison was by himself, that could really be a big opportunity for him.
Yeah, that's a great point. While our leaders battle here, the fastest car out on circuit is actually the 5th place, Alex Crawford. He's got no drafting buddies, no help, all by himself, and he's going a second a lap quicker than these guys. He's now just 7.5 seconds off the lead. That was out at 11 seconds before all of this started happening. We've seen a couple of guys jump for the pit lane. Justin Hall, Jeff Tyler have just been in recently. Jeff Tyler's just come out, and here comes John D. Allen into the pits. Tom Ellison's going to follow him. Benefield and Albert stay out. Halfway point of the race, and if tyres is what you're thinking about, halfway point is the best way to pit, to look after your tyres. Make neither set go any further than they have to. This is going to be huge. No mistakes in the pit lane for Allen or Ellison, or they will lose touch with the lead. And if Benefield and Albert battle too hard out there, they'll be undercut. Both drivers in the pit lane hit their marks precisely. Left side goes up on both cars first. That changing the tires on the outside. Now going to change the tires on the inside. Fuel going in. Let's see the pit stop times for these guys. Everyone who's pitted so far, we're looking at about 23 to 25 seconds, I think. How much fuel will they take? Big undercut from Ellison. He's going to come out in front of John D. Allen. 23 seconds for Ellison, 27 seconds for John D. Allen. That's let Ellison make a big jump.
Wow, what a fantastic move by Thomas Ellison. Yeah, David, I was really starting to worry the Tom he may have driven it 1 lap too late if he was going to get stuck behind John D. Allen. And when I say stuck, I mean just being behind him. John D. Allen is very, very quick. I don't think he would impede any of his progress, but I think Thomas Ellison may have done what he needed to do by getting by him, David. Has he maintained that position? Yes, he has. So Thomas Ellison, if he's quick, David, he has got to move right now, because Ross Benefield and Alex Albert, they've behaved themselves a little bit, but these guys are continuing to battle on track. So an undercut opportunity for Thomas Ellison has been absolutely primed.
And importantly, there's a car that hasn't pitted between them. Roy Deitch in 7th place right now, yet to pit. That shorter pit stop for Tom Ellison has put him out in front of the 630 car. John D. Allen is behind. He's going to have to make his way through if Roy Deitch doesn't jump out of the way. Maybe he did that time. John D. Allen is through, but it will have cost him some time. It would have given him something to think about that wasn't just laying down a very clean outlap, trying to put an undercut on Benefield and Albert. Let's take a look at the 77 and the 337. What are they going to do? Are they going to stay out? Are they going to come into the pit lane? Will they go long, or will they react to this? Both of them in the pit lane, and Albert side by side trying to jump Ross Benefield on the pit entry. Pit stop times are going to be critical for these guys, because Tom Ellison could undercut them. He's not a second clear of John D. Allen, so there's not going to be a breakaway there. Alex Crawford, who was in 5th, also into the lane, so everyone deciding not to run long on fuel, deciding that with the track temps as they are, new tyres are a must. Shane Norton also comes into the pits. Someone could stay out from a long way down and inherit the lead of the race.
Yeah, and that looks like I thought it was going to be Will Robinson. No, but that was not Will Robinson. Here comes Thomas Ellison. He is coming across the start finish. David, what is that pit lane looking like? Are those former leaders still stationary?
Albert gets rolling now. Banfield still stopped in his box. Albert undercuts it by a lot. Not a good stop from Banfield, but Albert's going to come out in front of Ellison and Allen. And by a second and a half, he's not going to get the good run up the hill. And Banfield's going to come out and assume fourth position. So this has spread out the leaders just a little bit. Albert has 1.2 seconds over Ellison and Allen, who are right together, and Banfield has lost 2 seconds or more. He's 4 seconds off the lead, 3 seconds behind John D. Allen.
Yeah, that is kind of a disaster in this race where this draft is going to be so important. Where this top group, Tom Ellison and John D. Allen, these guys are pretty much sliding back in where they started. And just a stellar pit stop by Alex Albert, who actually was 0.2 faster than Thomas Ellison. So both of these guys really primed their pit crews for this, and two very, very good stops. So Tom Ellison, very strong on the pit strategies. He was able to jump 2 spots. He was walking, we go a little bit wide coming out of the chute here, and it looks like John D. Allen is going to get an opportunity to make a pass for P2. And yeah, Thomas Ellison braking early. No, I thought he was going to give it to him, David. No, he's not. They're going to run side by side going up the boot here.
So Albert in the lead, but side by side for second place. Once again, Tom Ellison is going to have the inside line, but John D. Allen is pulling away. Ross Banfield dropping further back. He's going to have to absolutely put his head down, but John D. Allen swoops through into second place. Great pit stop from Tom Ellison, but just couldn't capitalize on the pace on track. So everyone in your field has pitted now, absolutely struggling on those tires in these very, very hot conditions. No one wanting to go any longer on their first set of tires than they had to.
Yeah, absolutely, David. And yeah, I'm checking the entire grid, and everyone has pit. And the pit crew award is look like it's going to go to the team of car number 46, Jeff Tyler, with a 21.6 second stop. Now, that is likely a fuel situation. You got to remember, Jeff Tyler had a bit of a moment and a bit of a spin. I don't know how much savings you get when you spin, but Jeff Tyler does have a quick stop of the race, and he is up 7 spots now. He's had a bit of an issue with this race, but he has a lot of time to gain. I don't know if a top 3 is an opportunity for him, but Jeff Tyler, top 5 is very doable for him in a very eventful race.
Yeah, indeed, Jeff Tyler soon is going to have a look at Austin Hall. I think he'll definitely get that position. Alex Crawford might be a bit ahead, but at the lead of the race, Alex Albert's taking an alternative line towards the inner loop, trying to not give too much slipstream advantage to John D. Allen. He now knows with the pit stops done, it's elbows out. There's no opportunity to undercut John D. Allen again. He needs to hold on to the lead. I think Alex Albert will make that Mazda Miata as wide as possible for the remaining 25 minutes of this race. It's do or die now. It's got to be settled on track, and Albert will not want to let Allen through. Ellison is still in touch, but Banfield now 5 seconds off the lead. Now he's no longer in the slipstream. He just can't quite turn the times of Albert and Allen.
Yeah, I don't want to call it a pit stop blunder, but yeah, Ross Benefield with a 24-second stop. That is a full 2 seconds slower than our P2 driver, Thomas Ellison, Alex Albert. John D. Allen with a 26-second stop, so kind of right in line, actually even slower than Ross Benefield. But yeah, David, it's not looking like his opportunities are looking good to finish out this race. Let's keep it
huge drift from the leader. John D. Allen gets a much better run back out onto the cup circuit, and there's nothing to separate first and second. Those new tires, the grip at the front end for Alex Albert might have been too much because he put the car into a huge slide, and it just does not have the horsepower to compensate for that. When you're scrubbing the tires, you're losing speed in a car like this.
Yeah, that was a fantastic display of driving there by Alex Albert. Not that it's good news, David, but the track temperature has dropped 1 degree to 116. So the guy should really feel tons of grip coming back to the car with that wonderful drop in 1 degree.
Yeah, get your puffer jacket out, put the cabana and the parasol away. It's the temperature's dropping massively. It's still very, very, very hot out there, and John D. Allen is looking for an opportunity to get the lead of the race. Alex Albert is going to stay to the right-hand side of the circuit through the Esses. He will not expose the inside of the track. He does now. He assumes the regular racing line, but only once he knew that John D. Allen didn't have the momentum to try and throw it down the inside. Now through the inner loop, bouncing over all of the curbing. That's a pretty good line for Albert this time. Ellison stays in touch, but on that lap, the fastest driver was John D. Allen, a 2-minute 13.8. Ross Benefield could only manage a 2-minute 14.8. He is dropping back, and if he has a scruffy couple of laps, I wouldn't put it out of the reach of Alex Crawford in 5th to close that up if Crawford can put his head down.
Yeah, just a reminder of before these guys took a pit stop, when those tires were super old, these guys were doing mid 216s, maybe even some 17s if you got a little bit loose. These guys are now doing 213s and 214s, David. So just really seeing what a set of fresh rubber can do for you. But I continue to be very interested in what Alex Crawford is doing out here. Yeah, he's in a very steady and a bit of a lonely P5, but my goodness, very, very consistent drive for him tonight. Up 6 spots, starting in P11 all the way up to P5.
Some position swapping further down the order. Jeff Tyler and Justin Hall still battling, but Chris Knisley has just gotten past Ryan Verholst for 9th place. Knisley, of course, with some issues earlier on, but you mentioned right at the top of the broadcast, in our top 10 for championship points, he's had some good runs from time to time. He's now up into 9th, and 12th and 13th, potentially battling there, Tyler James and Roy Deitch. So something for everyone in ChampCar Sim Series, there always is.
Yeah, Roy Deitch has, he's up 2 spots and Tyler James up 4 spots. So these guys are having a very good race. Roy Deitch, a bit of cosmetic damage, not the prettiest looking car out there, but he's having a very good race. They're running a clean race. Both these guys have had a bit of a long pit stop, David. So maybe even some full tires, maybe a little too much fuel. But these guys are having a good race out there. Let's pop back up to our leader group. Not that a lot has changed, but we are going to see John D. Allen sweep outside as they enter they're coming up to the bus stop section. Who's going to lift?
Yeah, so John D. Allen has his nose in front, but he's around the outside, so Alex Albert lets him have the corner. John D. Allen comes in with a lot of speed, gets a little bit of a slide, but so does Alex Albert. Across the grass goes John D. Allen. I think he'll just get away with that. You cut too much of that grass, you will find yourself with a slow down penalty, which you cannot afford if you're in a pack battle like this. Using all of the tarmac, and then a little bit more is John D. Allen. He will not get away from Alex Albert, who pushes a little bit wide through the laces. John D. Allen gets a little bit of oversteer through the laces. 2 different conditions there. Brings Tom Ellison in 3rd back into it. And there's been a second pit stop for Alex Crawford. He went wide through the carousel, tapped the Armco. A lot of damage for him. He's back in the pit lane and dropping down the order. He was running in a very solid 5th place, and maybe he's just lost his focus somewhere along. Your battle now for the lead is just 3 cars as Ross Banfield drops away a little bit. John D. Allen has taken the race lead once again. I don't think this is the last we'll see of Alex Albert and Tom Ellison, though.
No, I don't think it is. David, quick call out to Alex Crawford. He is P8 in points, so this is a very difficult night for him. He is deep in that battle for, again, fighting out for some of those top 5 positions in points. This is going to be a black eye for him tonight in terms of moving up that points battle. So P8 in points, Alex Crawford not having a great night.
And he didn't uncheck his fast repair at the first pit stop. He used it at the first pit stop, and I don't think he had a whole lot of damage on the car then. So this is a long stop for repairs this time. It might even become a retirement, because that car's now been sitting in the box more than 2 minutes, and the repairs are not done. I assume the suspension damage in there, as well as just a lot of crumpling on the front fender. Now, out of turn 1 for the leader, this is where the biggest slipstream is. Allen was 6/10 clear of Albert coming out of turn 1, but now, following exactly in the wheel tracks, Alex Albert will gain and gain and gain up the hill and down the longest straight on the circuit. It's now 5/10. Will it be 4/10 before the braking zone? Albert's definitely not close enough to try and make a move this time, but he did gain just a couple of crucial tenths on John D. Allen, who once again has a squirrely time trying to hold onto it through the inner loop. It lets Albert close up just a little bit more as well. 17 minutes to go, getting to the pointy end of this race. Mistakes getting more costly now than they were early in the race.
Yeah, indeed getting more costly. And David, I unfortunately have to report you need to put away that winter coat. We have jumped back up to 119 degrees. So these cars going fast have increased our temperature up 3 degrees in a matter of 10 minutes here as that sun continues to rise in the sky and heat up this track. Yeah, John D. Allen and Alex Albert both on pretty quick laps. They've gone green in sectors 2 and sectors 3. So both of these cars are very quick. John D. Allen, without the draft, has also been very, very quick. So right now their last laps, 2:13 for John D. Allen and a 2:14.5, and Tom Ellison in P3 did a 2:14.1 on that last lap. So Thomas Ellison just as quick, but you just see how much of a draft can really affect those laps, and you see how much Tom Ellison is back almost a second and a half right now, just not being the beneficiary of that draft in some of those fast sections.
Yeah, people talk about this as being a draft car, and what they mean by that is it's not got a boatload of horsepower. You max out against the air resistance very early down a straight in a car like this. That's where you get just a couple miles an hour advantage by following a car in front, punching a hole in the air for you. It's very, very noticeable. This section of the course, turn 1, up the hill and towards the inner loop. Alex Albert just a little bit closer than he was last lap. That's going to help him. He's 4.5 tenths back now. That means he's not only is he closer, but the effect of the slipstream gets more powerful as he is closer underneath. It's now 3 tenths. He's got that speed advantage, doing 3 miles an hour more than John Allen just on the power of the slipstream. Now 1.5 tenths, basically nothing. Albert lifts out of the throttle a little bit so he can set up a good run through the inner loop. He gets the rear out sideways. Allen cuts across the grass. These guys are pushing all of the grip they have, and that is actually not very much right now. What's the track temperature doing from your point of view?
I have some good news. It has not gone up in the last 5 minutes. It is still at 119 degrees. Watch John D. Allen take himself a bit of a slide going into the chute there. David, I do not want to question John D. Allen. He is a very strong driver, but he has not taken the inner loop the same way this entire race. He's taken a lot of curve. He's taken a little curve. He's drifted on the first apex. He's drifted on the second apex. John D. Allen is just, it's really an adventure to watch him every time he goes to the inner loop. And Alex Albert, a little more behave, but John D. Allen is quite a treat to watch him go through that bus stop each lap.
Yeah, is there an upstate New York tourism authority or something? Because I think we've got lose yourself in beautiful Watkins Glen right now. Put that on a billboard, because there's plenty to explore in this beautiful part of the world, and definitely is for John D. Allen. He's exploring some of the greenery every time as well. Albert, not as quick through the boot section this time around, though. He's still within touching distance. He would really dearly like to take this win, but he's on the ragged edge as well, missing some apexes. John D. Allen hitting it through the final corner, tracking all the way out to the tyre bundle, using every inch that he has. As they cross the line, the gap 8 tenths. That's the biggest it's been, really, since these guys pitted.
Yeah, it really is. And we watched John D. Allen go very adventurous out of turn 1, entering the turn 2, 3, 4 complex, really testing the limits of that runoff area. Alex Albert, as you said, is going to get a nice draft coming up the hill here. Yeah, he's already got about a 3 mile an hour advantage. But we've seen Alex Albert be very patient going through this section. I think he's just waiting for the right opportunity. But there is still just over 13 minutes left in this race, so I don't think Alex Albert is very worried. But he needs to keep a close eye on some of those lap times. John D. Allen did go purple into sector 2 on that last lap. He still does own the fast lap of the race with a 2:13.5. But Alex Albert is right behind him with his personal best of a 2:13.8.
Yeah, and these guys have dropped Tom Ellison now. He's not getting the slipstream, and John D. Allen, as you mentioned, is finding some speed here and there and putting in some quick times, definitely much quicker than before they pitted, and some of these guys were doing 2:16s. Now a 2-minute 4.2 for John D. Allen last time. So he's getting used to the conditions, getting used to the car underneath him, and he's dragging along Alex Albert with him. But Albert now 9/10 back, hasn't been able to find quite all of that pace.
David, now that we have a bit of a breather in our front group, let's go down to P8 and P9 battle. Chris Nicely and Ryan Verhulst. These guys have continued to battle each other throughout the race. They've swapped positions multiple times. Chris Nicely darn near got Shane Norton going into the bus stop. Just couldn't quite get the job done. A great defense by Shane Norton. But yeah, these guys, David, continue to battle it out. I feel like we've called this out several times this race. Just good fun racing and very respectful with these two.
Nicely has closed up Norton on the last lap an amount of 1.5 seconds. Nicely has the foot down and Norton struggling just a little bit. I think this move, 7th and 8th, will happen pretty soon. Nicely is got some aggression in the green machine there. He's going to try and look for a way to put himself into 7th place, which is where he qualified. A move here would put him back net, no positions gained or lost. So I'm sure he'd like to do that to sort of bookend his recovery here, to say, I didn't lose any spots in this race. I mean, the ones I did, I got back. So he's going to try and set up a good run through the final corner, is he? Because he's not quite as close to Norton as he was earlier on. That gap extends out just a couple tenths, as scruffy few corners for Nicely. But overall, I think the 691 is the faster car in this battle here.
Yeah, I will agree with you. The 691 of Chris Nicely is a fast one. Yeah, you mentioned turn 11. Neither of them did a proper, took a proper exit on that. Chris Nicely took way too much inside turn, and Shane Norton just completely didn't look for the apex. So both of these guys a little scruffy, and then Shane Norton even scruffier coming up to the 234 hill complex, going very, very wide. Chris Nicely got a very good run off of that, and he's got a nice draft. He may be looking for an opportunity. David, these guys did this 2 laps ago. Looks like they're going to try again.
So Nicely has his nose to the inside. Now he's got his nose in front. He has an overlap. He has the advantage. Norton doesn't give it to him, but Nicely takes it away. 7th place for the 691 car, and now the 95 might have to worry about Ryan Verhulst behind. Certainly, Nicely has disposed of Shane Norton very well that time. Perfect move. That is a great overtake. That's how it's done.
Yeah, that was a very confident. Again, Chris Nicely had been kind of prepping for that pass the entire race. I think Shane Norton, I think he probably could have defended that if he wanted to. But yeah, I don't think we're in the make or break point of this race just quite yet. I think if we were possibly 2 laps out, maybe 1 lap out, Shane Norton may have given it a very difficult defense into that bus stop section. But he thought wisely and thought, you know what, I'm pretty happy with my P8 right now. I'm up 1 spot, and Chris Nicely likely very happy with regaining his starting position.
Yep, no doubt. Up front, though, John D. Allen is putting the pedal down. He's just set a 2-minute 14.1, the fastest lap of anyone that time around. He's pulled the gap to Alex Albert out to 1.2 seconds. If he can grab just a couple more tenths, then Alex Albert will be well and truly out of the draft range. And with the pace that Allen has had after the pit stop on the new tyres, if he pulls it out that far, I don't think Albert will be able to close it back down. Make or break right now for Allen's breakaway for the lead of the race. 5 laps to go when they cross the line. 9 minutes remaining on the timing tower. Allen, if he can make a breakaway, now is the time to do it. Ellison now 6 seconds off the lead in 3rd. Benefield 11 off the lead in 4th. And 5th place, it's our friend Jeff Tyler. Some other drivers have had issues, but Jeff Tyler has had the pedal down in the last 2/3 of the race. Now finds himself in 5th.
Yeah, and I've really been watching the gap between Jeff Tyler and Ross Benefield, and I think Jeff Tyler is probably going to be in this position for the end of the race. But yeah, a massive effort by Jeff Tyler, moving up a whole boatload of spots at the start of the race, having a spin, and then working his way back up. David, I'm continuing to watch this a battle between John D. Allen and Alex Albert. Alex Albert he needs to try so hard not to lose that draft, because with just right at about 8 minutes left in this race, David, that is going to be his sole opportunity to make sure he can guarantee an effort, or at least some sort of attempt to make a pass on John D. Allen, who is P2 in points. So this is extremely important for Alex Albert to make sure he can maintain that draft. And I think with these cars, David, about 8/10, 7/10 is where you can start to pull that draft. And right now, Alex Albert is very much on the brink of losing that, and I think John D. Allen knows it.
Yeah, I think up the hill through the Esses, it's a little bit further back that you can pick up a toe off the car in front, but it won't be a full slipstream. It won't be the advantage you'd get if you were, say, 5/10 back. I think Albert is right on the cusp of losing that right now at 1.1 seconds. Because, of course, the amount of time that these cars are full throttle from turn 1 up towards the inner loop, it's a lot. You'll feel it from a second back, but he'll want to be closer than that. Coming out of turn 1, it was 1.05 seconds, and I can see Albert clawing back some hundredths on the timing board, but he's not clawing back tenths, and that's what he needs from that 1 second back. Allen wiggles around a little bit on the straight, trying to break that draft, but it won't be successful. So Albert will be 0.85 behind as they reach the inner loop, gained maybe just 2/10, but he loses that much through the rest of the circuit. He's clinging on for dear life right now.
Yeah, he really is. And pretty much the entire race, John D. Allen has been quicker than Alex Albert in sectors 2 and 3. But these guys are really struggling for a grip right now, as they are 10. These guys are right at 10 laps on these tires. So these tires are screaming, and the track is giving them no relief. It is now 120-degree track temperature.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth earlier when you said you could potentially fry an egg on it. That's toasty track temperatures. That is right at the limit of torturing these tires. And they're not the grippiest tires in the best of conditions. They're not a racing slick on these cars, I don't think. And they're not wide tires either. So you don't have a lot of grip to play with. And now what little you have is being taken away.
David, with just about 5 minutes left in this race, I'm going to ask our producer to again pop back to the battle we've been enamored with the entire race, P7PA, Chris Nicely and Shane Norton, because it is heated up yet again. We will definitely keep our eye on those leaders. But David, this is our best battle on track, and dare I say, for the last almost 55 minutes, this one has not interrupted.
Knisley just can't break away from Norton. Slipstream, of course, quite strong there. So 7th and 8th, these guys are battling for a solid chunk of points, and they're pulling out time on Ryan Verholst behind, who had a pretty scruffy lap last time by a 2:17. So Knisley and Norton 1.2 seconds quicker than that, extending that gap out even as they battle just a little bit. Through the penultimate corner, Norton looks a bit quicker. Through the final corner, what can he do? He runs a little wider than Chris Nicely does. It's all going to be about the exit of turn 1 and up the hill. Norton plenty close to pick up enough of a slipstream to make a challenge into the inner loop right now. And he nearly looks for it through turn 1 as Knisley runs very, very wide. They're almost too wide through there. Knisley's going to cut plenty of grass around here in the beautiful surrounds of upstate New York. And so Norton is right in behind as they come up the Esses. What can he do about it?
I just don't know. Yeah, a very adventurous line by Chris Nicely coming out of that turn 1 section. We've seen there's plenty of tire tracks going through that grassy section right there. I'm sure that's why it's there, just in case anybody goes a little wide. And yeah, Shane Norton is going to take a very small peek into the inside, possibly wanting to upset Chris Nicely. And yeah, David, he's upset him, but he's done the same thing. So these guys are entering the outer loop right now. Shane Norton does have the preferred line, but plenty of camber here. You can keep it low, and Shane Norton's got a very good run, not the preferred line entering the chute here. I think Chris Nicely is going to hold on to it.
Yeah, side by side they went in. Knisley had the inside. Trying to cross it back is Shane Norton. Knisley's looking for anywhere around the circuit he can mow the grass because he's done it twice in this lap so far. He takes the tighter line through the toe of the boot. Norton gets a later apex. The exit of the corner, of course, is uphill. You need all of the power you can get. Norton gets the throttle open just a little bit earlier, but not enough to make a challenge into the heel. He'll follow along once again, got a lot deeper on the brakes. I think that was a mistake because he's missed the apex and gotten a pretty poor exit. So you can see there's different strengths for the different drivers around this circuit. But then when you add it all up, they're pretty evenly matched, but they're not equal, but they are even.
Definitely are. David, I just want to ask our producer again to let's go to P4, car number 77, Ross Benefield. There is an interesting plot line developing here. He has gained pretty much half a second on Thomas Ellison every single lap. The gap was almost 4 seconds 2 laps ago. It is now down to 3.2. He did a 3:15.4 last lap. Thomas Ellison with a 2:15.4 and Thomas Ellison with a 2:15.5. But Ross Benefield is making up some significant time on Thomas Ellison in the closing moments of this race. Now, there is 2 minutes left, so I suspect, David, roughly 2 laps left. I don't know if he can do it, but he is just chewing away tenths on Thomas Ellison. Thomas Ellison is probably very content with where he is, but he's very careful as Ross Benefield is really trying to hunt down a potential P4 if he can do it in the closing moments of this race.
Shane Norton back through on Chris Knisley into turn 1. Now Knisley has the slipstream towards the inner loop. Does he look to the inside? He does put his nose there. He's going to make the two of them side by side into the inner loop, but he brakes a little bit earlier, gets a better line through the inner loop. Shane Norton well off, and will nicely try and go around the outside of the carousel. Can't quite do it. Those two switching positions once again. At the lead of the race, though, Albert clawed a little bit out of John D. Allen that last lap. It's down to 7/10. Alex Albert is not giving up, and they're going to get the white flag this time by. There's just 1 minute left on the timing tower. John D. Allen will see the white flag, but Alex Albert will be within touching distance to try and make a move on the final lap.
You absolutely nailed it. I think he's right in that sweet spot. He may even get a bit of a pull coming into turn 1 here, as the draft, as you mentioned, is quite generous on this. So if Alex Albert can get himself a very, very precise and very good apex here, David, I think that's pretty darn good. John D. Allen goes a little wide, clipping the grass. I don't think he's going to lose a lot of speed here, but I think Alex Albert may be in position to possibly get a draft here. And David, again, let's keep the camera on this map, but Ross Benefield is now within 2.5 seconds to Thomas Ellison, so he continues to really put the heat on Thomas Ellison. He is watching that timing on his screen. I'd be a little worried.
Yeah, indeed. And for the lead here, Albert doesn't have enough to close in and make a move in the inner loop, but he has gotten closer. He'll do everything he can to put pressure on the number 48 car. He also gets a better run through the inner loop, carries a little bit more speed into the carousel. I'm not sure that's going to help his exit. He's doing everything he can to occupy the mirrors of John D. Allen, because that's all he can do from 4/10 back is pressurize and hope for a mistake from John D. Allen. Albert misses the apex through the laces of the boot, and I think that's his charge done unless Allen can make a mistake. I think Alex Albert, he's gone through the best overtaking opportunity on the lap, and it'll have to be something crazy to make a move before the checkered flag. He's held the pressure on John Allen all race, but it's just not been enough pace at this point. He goes so deep on the brakes into the heel, he's going to lose a little bit more time there. John Allen has this race wrapped up with 3 corners to go unless he has a huge error or misses a shift. But it's going to come down to the wire, that's for sure. Less than 1 second, and that's what we like to see here in the ChampCar Sim Series. John D. Allen through the penultimate corner. Smooth line, that's what he needs to do. Tracks it all the way out. Now into the final corner. Great line here. The checkered flag in the air for John Allen. He's a winner once again in ChampCar Sim Series. Alex Albert will get a good haul of points in second, but not the win he was hoping for. It's 13 seconds back to Ellison and Benefield. Benfield's had a mistake.
Yeah, I think he's going to be okay. But David, let's quickly go back to our battle between Shane Norton and Chris Nicely. These guys are not done giving us a show. They are entering the heel right now, and yeah, they're coming up to the final sector. So this turn 10 and turn 11. I just don't know if Chris Nicely's got enough juice in him. But David, we've been massively entertained by these two, and what a drive tonight by both of these drivers.
Yeah, fantastic. A masterclass in racing the ChampCar Sim Series. We had some great pit strategy in this race as well. Shane Norton will beat Chris Nicely to the line here. So Nicely couldn't hold on to that 7th place in a great battle that those guys had. Yeah, a little bit more pit strategy coming into play in ChampCar Sim Series than we're used to because of those massively hot track temperatures. And in the last minutes of the race, have continued to rise as well. A couple more drivers still to take the checkered flag. Andrew Fawcett in 10th is going to cross the line, and then it's going to be Will Robbins. Roy Deitch is holding on to 12th. Lee Mullerman for 13th, and Jacob Beenan, one of the last cars on the lead lap as well.
Yeah, so David, I think our final cars are wrapping up here. So, what a very strong drive by John D. Allen. We continue to be impressed with his just raw talent in this car. David, of the top 5 group, top 5. Excuse me, David, the top 8. John D. Allen had the slowest pit stop of that top 8 group. So that just lets you know how hard he had to drive to recoup some of that a bit of a bungle in the pits. But wow, John D. Allen, Alex Albert, and Thomas Ellison, a great show tonight. And Ross Benefield, David, just a very difficult night for him. He lost that draft. I think his night was over.
Yeah, indeed. So let's run down your final results. John D. Allen, your winner. Alex Albert gets 2nd place. Tom Ellison holds on to 3rd. Ross Banfield slips from 2nd down to 4th on the grid. Just couldn't hold on to that one, but a decent haul of points for him in 4th. Jeff Tyler recovers to 5th place. Justin Hall gets 6th. Shane Norton and Chris Nicely, we had our eyes on that battle, and the winner is Norton between those two. He gets 7th place, 8th goes to Nicely. Ryan Verholst has 9th place, and Andrew Fawcett finishes in 10th.
Yeah, we're at P11. Will Robbins, difficult night, down 6 spots tonight, up for 3 spots to P12. Roy Deitch, Lee Molman in P13, Jacob Beaton, P14, David Evans, P15, Adam Severich, P16, Tyler James, P17, Alex Crawford, P18, Kerry Coughlin, P19, Chris Herbert, P20, and unfortunately, Leif Madsen, we never saw him on track tonight.
And with that, we're going to try and find a driver to have a chat with. I'm not seeing John D. Allen around the paddock, but we'll definitely go down the order and grab someone to have a word with.
Yeah, David, unfortunately, I cannot find my key.
I see him. Here we go. Our race winner, John Allen. And you had to fight for it all race. Didn't necessarily win it through the pit strategy, but how happy are you with that win?
Oh, yeah, I was, I apologize for my voice tonight, guys. I'm going to have a bit of a flu, but I tend to, for whatever reason, drive better when I'm sick. So it's, the pit didn't go very well, no. I took the fuel I wanted, got a little free fuel because I was taking 4 tires, and then for whatever reason, it started fueling again after it came down. So that didn't work out too well. So I was really aggressive while the tires were still new, because I learned in the first stint you get about 5 laps on them and then they just fall into a sloppy mess. So I wanted to get it back around Thomas, try and get near the lead and make it a 2-car battle if possible. And that was kind of key, I think.
And the track temperatures might as well have been the surface of the sun. How did that affect the grip? How did that affect how you plan out a move? And what did that do to the tires?
Yeah, it was, especially in the toe of the boot. It was just pushing something awful. The final turn, every time, just scary, looking at those tires, trusting that you were going to not hit them, but use every inch. And you did have to adjust for that late in the run, because they did definitely act differently after about 12 laps.
Well, more broadly about the championship here in ChampCar Sim Series, it's looking like a very, very tight-fought championship fight. And you've now won one over Alex Albert in this race. We're close to the halfway point of the season. Expectations and hopes for the remainder of the championship in 2019.
I'm going for it. I want to make sure I can make every race possible. I know there's some drops there, and I'll have to use some of them, I believe. So I can't afford to, to have a bad finish when I am here, and that's going to be the key move.
Well, certainly couldn't have gone any better than today. From pole position, winning, and if that was the whole story, it'd make it sound a lot easier than it actually was for you. Anyone you want to thank, any shout outs while you're on the broadcast?
I appreciate everyone involved with this, organizing these leagues. I've been involved with a couple of them, and it does take a lot of time and effort, and it shouldn't be overlooked. So, from the broadcast with yourselves and also, the guys at UJAS putting together, I guess it's only in its second season. I wasn't here for the first, but you'd think it'd have been around for 10. It's a polished product, and I love being.
Awesome. Well, congrats on that win, and hopefully we'll see you again next round, or at least for quite a few more rounds remaining in the season.
Hope so. Look forward to it. Thank you.
Right, I'm going to grab our second place finisher, Alex Albert, and Aaron is going to have a word with him.
Alex, welcome to the broadcast booth, sir. As we've seen it the entire season, you and John D. Allen put on a heck of a show. Talk us through your night.
Yeah, John was just really fast, so I just tried to stay with him there in the early part.
Not sure we've got him. Maybe he's gone for a little break.
Do you got me?
He's talking. Yeah,
we do now. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
So early in the race, just tried to stay there with the lead pack, and then got up towards the front. Then I started worrying about maybe burning too much fuel, so I started slowing. I thought, the other guys were drafting off of me and saving, and so I wanted to give up the lead. But right as I was kind of slowing the pace down to try to get John to take the lead, he pit. So then I came around with Ross. We had a bit of a slow in lap. I was a little worried about that, but took just the right amount of fuel. Didn't have my JRT working tonight. Had to do it the old-fashioned way, math in the head, and came out ahead of those guys. And then once I realized I wasn't going to shake them, I wanted to make sure that they did their fair share at the front pulling. So, I didn't want to tow them around, give them better mileage.
Yeah, Alex, I want you to briefly talk about that pit entrance with you and Ross Benefield. I don't know I couldn't quite tell if you were looking to pit that lap, but you saw Ross dive in. Rarely do you see a side-by-side pit entrance, but my goodness, that was exciting to watch.
Yeah, so I guess it was the corner coming out of the boot, maybe. He got kind of a slow run, and I got beside him, but then I realized I was going to pass him by the next turn and we would lose more time. So then I was trying to let him go, but then I think he was trying to let me go, and he said he was pitting that lap, but by that time I'd already fallen behind him, and then I just felt like his entry was too slow, honestly, and so I tried to pass him. Then I got in a little too hot. I hadn't practiced it in practice, and just got in there a little hot, so I went ahead and slowed down extra to try to give back anything I gained to avoid the dreaded 15-second penalty, and it worked, and went down and had a clean stop.
Well, Alex, congratulations on your finish tonight, sir. I think, we're all anxious to see how the points shake out, but we all know that you have a very big weekend ahead of you in real life, huge ass racing. Do you want to quickly talk about that?
Yeah, so in the morning we'll be leaving to go up to Watkins, Glen for our first race of the season in the ChampCar Endurance Series. If you're at the track on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, come by and see us. We're going to be in Garage 6 and Pit Stall 42, and 42 is the second one from pit in. So, stop by and see us either in the garage or down there in the pits, and love to say hi and meet all of the people that watch these races.
Thank you, Alex. We always appreciate having you in the booth. Congratulate on your P2 tonight. David, can you go find ourselves our P3 driver, Mr. Thomas Ellison?
I think I can. Our third place finisher, Tom Ellison. Tom, you did a lot of the race in the pack there, and in the end, is third place a fair result for your car speed?
It was a difficult race for me. We had a lot of draft, a lot of jostling for position in the early laps, and I was able to. My strategy was to sit back and try and stay with John and Alex because they're much faster than me. So I was able to do that. Pitted with John. It was always my intention to come in one lap earlier to try and get a little bit of a gap, and then rushed to try and get out. But then John passed me, was behind Alex, was trying to stay with them for a little bit, made a couple of mistakes, and they were gone. And the draft is everything here.
Yeah, indeed. Tell us about the grip out there, because I don't think I've seen hotter track temperatures yet in ChampCar Sim Series.
It was smoky, yeah. So when I was setting the session up, I wanted it to be a morning start and then going towards midday temps, which is what happened for sure. And there wasn't a lot of grip out there, particularly coming out of the final corner. You could really feel the car understeering on the hot surface, and if you heated up your tires in the previous corner, you'd have to really lift out of it to avoid the tire wall. So it was a unique challenge.
We saw a lot of drivers, trying to pit at the halfway point rather than going as long as they could on the starting field. Do you think that was all about tires and the track temperature?
It could have been. It was for me to try and pit a little bit earlier, just to try and take advantage of some new tires on the hot track. I think there were also people, just because the draft was, as usual in these cars, so predominant that we were able to try and find a little bit of space if you were trapped behind a slower car.
Well, looking at the 7 rounds of the ChampCar Sim series we have had so far, any thoughts overall about how this year is tracking, about our participation, and about the kind of racing we've had?
I'm feeling really optimistic about it personally. This time last year we maybe had 8 cars at the Watkins Glen round. This year we had over 20, I believe, taking the green flag. So that's over 100% improvement. That's great to see. We've had some good racing. Racing at the front with John, Alex has been really tough. Ross has come along as well, and he's been right up there with us. But there's also been good racing throughout the pack, and that's what we want to see. And I think as long as we keep pushing the quality of racing throughout the field, and we keep publicizing it through the great broadcasting that you guys are doing, then we can continue to attract more entrants.
Awesome. Well, congrats on that 3rd place, and good luck with a very busy weekend ahead of you, I think.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good to get back out on track, hopefully, and see what the new car's all about. And I want to reiterate thanks to all the team at the Huge Ass Technology Center who've been getting that car ready for us. I know it's been a tough slog, but I'm really looking forward to getting back out on track and getting some laps under my belt again.
And if people wanted to watch on board, where would they go?
They could go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, youtube.com/hugeass. We'll be streaming live from Saturday and Sunday. Green flag is at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Checkered flag dropping at 4 p.m.
Fantastic. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, well, there we are. That just about wraps up round 7 of the ChampCar Sim series. It was not short of action, not short of strategy, and I think this just makes the championship fight, Aaron, even closer at the pointy end of the field.
Yeah, as I mentioned during my interview with Alex Albert, I'm very anxious to see where some of these points shake out. There was a swap of positions on track for the lead. So John D. Allen was P2 in points, just 11 points behind. Alex Albert did finish this. I just think that gap is going to close, and Thomas Ellison is probably going to hold right where he started, and same with Ross Benefield. So, David, the only difference between points positions and where they finish tonight is that swap at the top. So, my goodness, these guys remain quick, and my goodness, again, a very tough night for Alex Crawford in P8. So, David, a lot of these guys continue to be very strong on track, and we continue to be never disappointed broadcasting these races with these guys with some very respectful and some very exciting driving.
Yep, exactly. Cannot ask for more after 7 rounds. A championship battle getting even closer with that huge prize on the line of a paid up entry into a real ChampCar endurance series race. They could even claim that around Watkins Glen if they wanted to, that's for sure. So great, very, very valuable prize on the line. Championship battle even closer. I think everyone's going to want to tune in to the coverage of the remaining races in this season throughout the rest of the year. And of course, they are all going to be here on HJBC on youtube.com/hugeass. Do subscribe, check them out. We look forward to bringing you them later on, as well as Reddit iRacing League coverage. And of course, this weekend, live on board with Huge Ass and our car Blue, the number 337. It's going to be racing around Watkins Glen. Hope some people can tune into that one, see how we go. Hoping for some good results for the guys. I'll be watching, that's for sure. But until next time, I've been David Haynes. Alongside me has been Aaron Thacker. Our producer, Michael Derby. Great job from him always. We'll see you again soon. Hi, it's iRacing commentator David Haynes. In 2019, I'm excited to be bringing coverage of the ChampCar Sim Series, the sim racing division of the ChampCar Endurance Series. Contested across 15 championship rounds using the 2015 Mazda MX-5, the winners will receive a free entry into a real ChampCar Endurance Series race in the 2020 season. Each points round will be broadcast live by HJBC. Head to forum.champcar.org for full information and schedule. Sign-ups are open, so get registered now. Best of luck, and I'll see you at the track.